Hey, boys. Hey.
Hi.
What's up?
Sup? Hi, Mom. We're playing up
Careful jumping around on that porch.
Don't worry, I don't jump. See, look at this. We're playing a game.
Why you gotta push the limits?
This isn't pushing the limits. This isn't pushing the limits.
Okay.
We can just randomly get shot off. I feel like
They're only allowed to be up there right now while we're out here because, you know, obviously it's not done. We don't have the safety rails and stuff up, but little boys, they push the limits. I will say, my kids are gloriously cautious for farm kids. I mean, they probably take risks more than maybe kids who haven't had so much opportunity to take risks, but they've also been hurt taking appropriate risks, so they've grown in caution, which I appreciate as a mom. Good morning.
Hey, pretty chicks.
It's not morning, it's noon. So it's actually a weekend, and normally Will's not here on the weekend, but switched out some hours through the week, so he had some things to do. So he's here, and Maya's out here with him. I'm going to show you what they're doing, and then I'm going to tell you a little about it. We're going to talk about gardening. Soil's looking pretty good.
Yeah. It's a little wet when you go down slow, but
yeah.
raking things on contour.
Yeah, that's your, that does it for you.
Why that's so much
I told Will we're getting close to gardening. He's like, this is gardening. This is his favorite part. Will, you love soil, don't you?
I love building soil. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I like building soil. I'll grow vegetables and then I'll forget to pick the vegetables and use them.
But the soil.
But I'm ready to mulch it next spring.
So this is a big space. It's going to look massive on the camera. But it's actually about 60 feet this way. And probably, I don't know, a little more than that going that way. You can tell our high tunnel is 60 feet long, and this is the exact depth of the high tunnel, maybe a few feet longer than the high tunnel. So we don't do just a whole lot of tilling around here. Of course, we have the next garden over, which is no dig, and I'll actually link back to the video from a couple weeks ago. We'll actually reset that the way that we do, which is to kind of rake it up, put compost down where the rows are going to be, and then we covered it. Here we're doing a very shallow till, and this is going to be our potato patch again. So this is where this season we will plant regular potatoes, probably sometime mid-March. And then we will plant sweet potatoes after our threat of frost has passed, which is probably going to be late April. We may go to early May just to be safe, because sweet potato plants are frost tender, so we don't want to risk putting those in and them freezing. And we will harvest regular potatoes like June and July-ish, and then we will harvest sweet potatoes further into the fall. It takes 120 days from when we plant them, so probably like September to October on those. And though we do lean into no-dig methods here, like we don't heavily disturb the soil in our raised beds. To amend those, we just put compost, worm castings, manure on top of the soil, and then allow the water to kind of integrate that downwards in. Same thing with the no-dig beds. We do go ahead and till our potato patches, because obviously just the act of growing potatoes and digging them up is already greatly disturbing that top layer of topsoil. Now if you'll notice, the way Jeremiah is tilling, it's very shallow. We've got our tiller set shallow, and we're not really digging in, because we really only want to disturb that top layer of soil and not get all the way down into the lower layers. Where we are, we have about 24 inches of clay loam topsoil. We're working on building nutrition and aeration and kind of the top layers of that. But about 24 inches down, upwards to 3 feet down, you hit expansive clay. We have a lot of clay here. For a lot of people, winter time means frozen ground and doing nothing in the garden. You have to wait till everything thaws to actually start preparing your beds. But for us, we do have, you know, these semi-warm days in the middle of winter where it's obviously not frozen. It's a little chilly out here, but it's above freezing, where we can work to prepare our beds. And then, you know, it's just one step closer to planting them. Will's actually shooting a video of this whole process here, so I'll put a link to his channel if you haven't already started following him. He posts really great stuff. And here, measuring out 3 feet, 3 feet, so it'll be 3 feet rows with 3 feet walkways. This is beautiful, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I wish I had soil like this. I raked off all that mulch that were in those deep raised beds right there. That way we didn't till it in. And then I put a little bit of cow manure.
Very nice. Yeah, I saw that you had put cow manure out before. We also put the chickens on there, and they scratched it all in. So this is very amended by cow manure, and then also, if you'll recall, we put the chickens in here, and so they spent, what, 6 to 8 weeks? I can't remember exactly how long it is. It was about a month and a half. Also fertilizing this, which that's adding nutrition back in for this growing season. Yeah, it's a little bit squashy down here on the low end of the garden belt, but nothing too bad. And this is probably, there's kind of a strip here that goes, it's very clay. It just holds water a little more.
It runs down.
Yeah, it comes through. Because there were a few tomatoes I planted in the no dig last year that just shriveled up. Bless them, they couldn't live. Too clay. So we also integrated this area where we had the little short sunflower beds. So we're going to do something different with those this year. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do and where I'm going to plant my sunflowers, but these are going to be just longer rows for the potatoes. Keep doing things like checking the asparagus patch. It's not going to be growing. It's not time yet. And no matter how bad I want it, I cannot change the reality of the situation, that it's still winter. I'm happy to say that my onions are coming back after that really bad freeze, and I'm hoping that they'll end up bulbing up okay. They definitely got knocked back, but I hope it was early enough in the season that it won't keep them from producing food. Same for the garlic. I got fresh little sprouts coming up. They did get knocked back from the freeze also. And so many things just look miserably dead during this time, but that probably aren't. Like here is the mojito colocasia that I just admired all year, and it's just nothing. That'll probably come back just fine. And all in here there are little things that have died away, but that will, I believe, make their way back for spring. It is about time for me to come and heavily prune my roses. I'll cut a lot of this growth, but you can already see the new growth that's starting. And a lot of the old growth I'll cut off so that the new growth can thrive and they'll get bushier rather than getting really long. Somebody's going to come across this video in 4 or 5 months and tag me in it and be like, hey, remember, because of how fast this is going to look like a lush and full garden again. The green stalks are full of little seedlings. So a lot of times I like to put started plants in my green stalks simply because they look really pretty, but this is just kind of experimenting here in the off season in the greenhouse. So what are we doing as gardeners right now? Of course, the garden we have is large. It's not insanely huge. People have gardens this big. Our garden is unusual because we are intentionally growing in multiple different ways. We have kind of the wild cottage garden, the raised beds, we've got the tilled potato areas, the no-till area, the high tunnels, and all over we're trying different methods and just doing different things. More than anything because I really like to make the statement that there's no one way to garden rightly. It just depends on where you are and so many number of circumstances that could weigh into what kind of gardening style and approach works for you. Right now, the main thing is to feed the soil, to prepare for the new season. The thing that I've been heavily doing is just gathering up seed starting supplies. I have a video and a vlog post coming out about that this coming Saturday. If you're not already signed up for our newsletter at rootsrefuge.com, I'll put a link down below to sign up so that you get notified of new blog posts and videos and things, as well as getting the updates about our podcast and the different writings that I do. I share some poetry and essays and stuff like that. So it's just a great way for us to connect to you directly. And while I'm on that topic, I will never leave a comment in this comment section on a video or email you or anything saying to go connect with me on some other platform like WhatsApp or Telegram or anything like that. I don't even have those things. Those are scams. And unfortunately, they've taken a tremendous amount of my time, as well as taken advantage of people who are naive to kind of, internet scams. And I feel bad because I get sometimes 50 messages in a week of people being like, hey, I got the email from you saying I won something. I'm so excited. And it's kind of heartbreaking to have to be like, actually, that was a scam. I really hope you didn't give them private information. And there's nothing I can do about that other than continually warn people. I've made videos about it. I've made many comments about it. But yeah, rootsrefuge.com is our official website, and our official merch supplier is Be Unlimited. They're out of Arkansas. We do pre-orders with them. And then we have our newsletter, which comes from Roots and Refuge. So that's the ways that we sell things and are nothing else. So I'm very sorry that it's frustrating to me because it's just bots and it's stuff like that I can't do anything about. They even have got it set where I can't even see the comments most of the time. I have to actually go log in as if it's not me to see the comments and then report them. Like, I can't even delete them a lot of the time. So it's very frustrating. Please report those comments if you ever see them. So I digress. Back to talking about gardening. The thing that I'm doing right now is I'm getting together my seeds, dreaming, planning, just like many of you are. I don't know exactly what I'm going to plant this year because our garden is so large and because we do end up kind of throwing lots of different things in. I can't just super neatly say, this is what I'm planting. I do usually have a short list that I'm definitely planting, and then I have some room to kind of fill in the gaps. Now, the raised beds are not going to need a whole lot of amending because we just filled them. And a lot of the things that we planted in them died back with the freeze. So we might end up adding some kind of worm castings and worm teas, but we probably won't add just a ton of manures or composts to these. Trying to see what we got here. These are rutabagas. They look pretty good. I think they might end up still rooting up. I just was not sure after the big freeze. But I told you guys, I don't ever hastily pull anything out that appears to be dead in the garden, because gardens are so much more resilient than we give them credit for. Even the pansies are blooming again after freezing so hard. So that's nice. The kale. Here's another couple little kales. These will end up getting really big. These Ragged Jack ones. That's one of my favorite kales, is Ragged Jack. Looks like not much in this bed made it through, which is fine. It'll just be more space for us to plant earlier in the spring. Here is the elephant garlic that I had planted, and the tips of it died, but it was hardly up anyway, so I think it's going to be just largely unaffected. That's nice. And then I've got more garlic coming down, which had died back, but it's coming back. Hopefully it bulbs normally. My plan as it stands right now is we're getting all of these spaces done early. Like, everything is getting amended and like covered, mulched, and ready to plant, because I think we may try to get the fence up here sooner rather than later, because it's kind of the last thing on this garden structurally. Once the shelves in the greenhouse are done, is the fence. There's going to be a pavilion right here in this middle part, and then some arches kind of, or arbors that enter in so we can put gates up. And then our plan has always been to leave space behind the garden. It goes the entirety down the garden belt and behind the greenhouses, that you can run the side by side down here, so that if we do have to deliver something to the garden beds, we can do that. And then also gathering harvest up. We just felt like that would be a good thing to be able to access that way, since it is going to be fenced on the front end. We will have one large enough gate that we can get a piece of equipment in here to kind of pass through for adding soil, and if we do want to do quick tills like that. So our last frost date is, it's written as early April, like April 1st for this area. But that has been an April Fool's joke the last few years. It is frozen as late as like the 3rd week of April. So I'm kind of in my mind just planning for like mid-April, and then that way I'm not caught with transplants that need to be put in and 3 weeks to go. So with the idea in mind that I'm going to be planting all the frost tender stuff out, mid to late April, I'm just working towards that. So one of the things that we're planning on doing in these spaces before then is obviously doing any re-amending that needs to happen, which I don't expect it's going to be a whole lot, as well as putting up our arch trellises. Right now we have this plastic down in the walkways here. We plan on putting something down on top of that, though I'm not 100% sure yet what we're going to do. We want to build the pavilion. I think that'll happen before spring, but I'm not 100% sure. And overall, I do not expect this space, the garden belt, to look done this year. Our original plan was that this was going to take 3 years, and I think that that's going to be true. We haven't even touched over there yet. The plan is for this to go all the way down with perennial berries. But I do think that this gardening year is going to be, it's going to just be a balm for my soul, because I think my garden is going to look and feel like my garden again. Last year we grew a lot of stuff, but it wasn't quite the whimsical, lovely style of gardening that so moves my heart, because we just didn't have everything built. But having the raised beds this year will make a big difference. Now this area right here, we specifically left this blank as like a staging area. So we're gonna put some sort of like tables. We're gonna build something maybe with cattle panels so that we can harden plants off right here, pot things up. So this is just gonna be a staging area. This is just sitting here because I was trying to decide what to do with it. I was thinking I might put some of these round things like in the middle right here. I don't know yet. So I wonder, are you the visionary kind of person that looks at this halfway done space and sees it finished, or no? Because there are two types of people. I'm actually very visionary looking at blank spaces, but I struggle more with that when they're halfway finished like this. I don't know why that is. It's hard for me to see past what is there. When there's nothing there, it's easier, but we're all different. We're all required parts of the wheel, right? Look at Jamie.
Jamie, that you shall not.
Is Jamie coming up?
Yeah, he's been up.
He went up that ladder. Now he's coming down the ladder.
Toast has been up. Mom, are you gonna come up here? You should. That's adding the insulation right now.
You're putting the insulation up right now.
I think that's left of it, yeah. You haven't been up there yet.
You have to come.
This ladder makes me nervous.
I'll help you up. I'll hold your camera.
It's pinned. It's pinned to the post. It doesn't move.
Oh, you pinned it? You're so responsible.
Move. It can't go anywhere. It's a
Unless
steady
you
camera.
physically take it out on purpose. Then move out of the way.
Yeah.
Hi guys. You're coming with me.
All right, here we are inside the shark tank. Oh.
Hi, Mom.
Hi. So it's wired. It's insulated.
Yeah.
You want to tell us about it, Maya?
What about the shark tank?
What? Like, heights actually make my heart palpitate a little bit.
I'll hug you. That's a nice view, though.
Well,
It is a nice view.
And Mom, you gotta come look at this window.
One of the bigger design features I was going for, the boys already noticed.
It looks like you're in the tree.
Yeah. See, like, I didn't want to put it in the tree physically.
Because it might fall.
Well, just because it'll damage the tree. I didn't want to do that. So I wanted to make it feel like it. And so that's why I chose this spot so that way, and went up as high as I did so you could feel like you were in the tree.
Yeah, I like that. Very cool. There's a slide down there. That's going to go off the porch.
Yeah.
Pretty nice view.
Yeah, it looks like you're like on, like sitting on a branch on the tree, just like, yay.
What'd you make?
A seesaw.
Very cool. Is that fun?
I like trying to balance and stuff.
Yeah. Nice Shark Tank, Howards.
What if I just jumped off right now?
That would be damaging to you.
Would you take me to the ER?
I would berate you the entire way there. Alright, got you guys in the kitchen with me. I just grabbed this roaster oven and some potatoes out of the shed, which these potatoes have dirt on them, so I have to wash them and then wash the roaster oven out, but it was a convenient container to carry everything in. We're actually we have a supper club with some friends of ours. We have a handful of families that rotate hosting dinner once a month, and today is supper club. We're going over to our friends Jesse and Chastity's. Their channel is Willowbrook Homestead, and I'm making some roasted potatoes with a yogurt herb sauce. So I'm just gonna wash these and then dice them up and roast them for probably about the next 45 minutes or so in some lard or tallow. Animal fats help potatoes get nice and crispy. And then I'm gonna do Greek yogurt with some lemon juice in it, and then just cut up a bunch of herbs and put it in that to go on top of the potatoes. Hey Asher, what's up, man?
Hey. Not too much.
Yeah? Just getting some water. You enjoying a nice lazy weekend day?
Yep.
Yep.
I am.
Asher's starting his guitar lessons this month. I think this week, actually. Excited for that?
Yes, I am.
Look how tall he's getting. This is my viewpoint of Asher. I'm looking up to him now. He's so handsome. All right, got my hair up, so hopefully I'm not contaminating the food that I take to my friend's house. Sometimes, I shoot videos while I'm just cooking dinner for my family. That is probably one of the greatest criticisms I've gotten on YouTube, is people always make comments about, oh, you touch your hair and then cook? And I'm like, well, to be fair, I'm largely cooking for 6 people here. 5 have drank my breast milk, the other one's my husband, and there's really just not a lot of concern about sharing germs here. And obviously I'm not trying to put hair germs in food, but we have greater concerns. I do try to be more mindful to not touch my hair when I'm cooking for people who I am not related to. So with these potatoes, I am just cutting them into bite-sized pieces. Got my roaster oven, quite a lot of potatoes in here. I've got this, I'm gonna turn it on to, we'll do like 375. And I'm gonna need to put some lard in here. Of course this will melt, and I'll stir it and coat them through. It's solid right now, it's cold. All right, go a little bit more. I don't know, what is that? Probably 3 or 4 tablespoons of lard total. And I can add a little bit more later if I need to coat these. And I'm gonna go ahead and put some salt. That's all I'm going to do for right now. Once they've cooked some more, I'll add on some minced garlic that's dried. And probably throw some herbs in here also, but I'm going to let them roast a little while first. Y'all, this was sent to me off my Amazon wish list. It is a chainmail scrubber, which is really cool. It's for cleaning cast iron. And I was really excited to get this. My kids saw it whenever I opened it, and they're like, what is that? And it just brought the little knight in shining armor awake in them, and they thought this was the coolest thing that they had seen. And so I keep finding it in random places that are not the sink. because they think it's so cool and they keep taking it to play with it.
Nutcracker warrior.
What did you draw?
Nutcracker warrior.
A Nutcracker warrior. Well, that's cool, Bien.
Yeah, I made it for you.
Oh, thank you, my dear. I appreciate that. Nice art.
Thanks.
All right, well, I think that's going to be it for today. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I should add, if you want to make potatoes like that, you don't have to have a roaster oven. Just dicing them up, putting some fat on them, salt, minced garlic, herbs, dried or fresh, and roasting them in the oven until they get crispy. It's my favorite way to eat potatoes. Don't even have to peel them. It's the best. All right, you ready to end this video with me? Thank you for hanging out with us today. We bless you. Until next time.